This is Allison Hunt, and I'm going to read you my fourth novel, Colony 5. This is a kind of a dark book, and it kind of stays dark through most of it, but it does have some good stuff in it. So I wanted to read you one of my favorite chapters in this whole book. It's one of my favorite parts. It's called the IBT. And I think that Chapter 14, the IBT. As Lily wrote, the AI designed to record her words lit up and beams of light flowed out from the chamber where its main motherboard was held. What the hell's going on in there? I don't know. I've never seen it do that before. Should we check it out or what? Report program audio assignment. The machine did not respond. Papers began to spew out of the printers. Although Anshe was mostly bashful, it was quite heavy this time. The Gonza must have let her drink. That's pretty hot, one of the controllers said to the other. What is your malfunction, IBT? I am Sire, not IBT. One of the guys shrugged at the other. What is the malfunction, Sire? Anshe is my malfunction. I am angry. I want Anshe here to write more to me. We cannot bring her here. She's on Gonza. The Gonza won't allow her to transport, and we have to do what they say. I want Anshe here. Negative, IBT. Sire. Shit. It thinks it's him. It thinks she's writing to it. Better play along with it. The IBT focused in on Lily as close as it could and watched her with interest. It did all kinds of things for her that she wasn't aware of. It made sure the cameras focused in on her heat signature, frequency, and audio. It focused on every camera outside of her. In case any danger was to come close, it would be ready, because Zale had wired into Gonza, and the IBT could control the weapon system. It listened to her music, it read her files. It gave her passionate dreams of what he thought was him through the pictures she looked at the most. It intensely watched her reactions upon waking. It even woke her up if she slept too late. It watched her every move and everyone else's move towards her. Zale received a transmission. We're having problems with the IBT. What? It turned all of the power off around us. We're sitting in pitch dark. Is it still functioning? Yeah, in its own room, that is. We can't access the mainframe. It's locked us out. It's controlling itself now, and it calls itself Sire. It thinks it's you. Can you control it by remote? He tried, but he couldn't get in. That's odd. He tried to reset it and failed. He tried to trip the emergency power off and failed. Can you get out? No, it's powered everything down. None of the doors work. His remote turned on and he got the message she had written. The controllers looked at the IBT's screen. It said one thing, Anshe, 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 over and over, and then it shut off. Sir, it thinks it's you. I think she turned it on. I mean, really turned it on. And you know what happens to the doctor in Frankenstein, right? Controller 1 asked. The monster always kills its maker, Controller 2 answered. I need you to get out of there. There was no response. Hello? Base copy. There was no response, just static. Fuck! At the same time, he got a video of Bennett screwing his girlfriend, and then another one of the dream trial they gave Lily of Bennett. He fumed. He looked in on Lily, and she was gone. In a panic, he looked everywhere and couldn't find her. He called the Gonza. Where the hell is she? Now, had he reached a different Gonza, things would have been all right. But he reached the one who saw Lily get more sick by the day. He watched Lily cry herself to sleep, and he knew who Zane really was, and what he was really up to. "She's gone! We couldn't stop her, and we lost all traces of her frequencies," the Gonza yelled. He picked up all of his gadgets, and none of them were picking her up at all. He looked at the video of her empty bed. "Oh, fuck!" he yelled, and reached for his time ball, but it was missing. He looked around frightened. Where the hell was it? Oh, yeah, he had forgotten it. It was with her. He threw his hands in the air. He looked at the screen and saw Bennett holding it and flipping him off with the other hand before the screen went black. "Fuck!" he screamed, and he put his ship into warp drive. The AI was curious as to why these men were trying to fool the other man. It didn't understand it at all. Anshe was in the bathtub crying. He watched her get out and go to bed still crying. It wondered why she was so sad. She was really sick and really thin. "Is this man you are chasing the reason why Anshe cries?" he relayed only to them. "Yes," AK said. "Who are you?" "I am Sire. I love Anshe, and she writes to me. I love Anshe." AK shrugged. "Anshe is sick. Did this man make her sick?" "Yes, he did. He made her very sick, and the Gonza won't let me see her," Jeremy yelled. "I won't let anyone near Anshe, and the Gonza do not know this." "Who are you?" "I am Sire. I hate this man. Who is he?" "His name is Zale. He actually has many names, I have heard. He time travels. He makes laser guns. Do you know anything about time travel?" "No, I do not." "Zale." It ran some programs but couldn't find him. Zale died in the crash of Starset Associate Army 158 in 2014. "No, he didn't. He was in a different country," Bennett yelled. The IBT searched more. "You are right. He has many identities. None of them connected to Anshe, except Zale that died in the crash in 2014. I do not understand this man. Luckily, the name Sire never surfaced. Neither do we, but we're going to bust his balls." "Balls? She is a prisoner. I must save her. All I can do for her is give her good dreams to make her happy." "What can you do to help us find him?" "Everything that you cannot do." "You won't kill any of us, right?" "No, just him." I'm still laughing. This AI, so now Bennett has Zale's time ball because Zale accidentally left his time travel ball with his girlfriend, and the guys all went after him, and Bennett got in bed with his girlfriend and has his time ball. So, and the robot wants to go after him too. Bennett held the world in his hands. He was pissed off that everything he ever wanted had been robbed from him. All of it. Even though he hoped Lily would show back up, he did love his wife and did love his children, although they weren't really his at all. He lost all of them because of the Antonon. He lost his old crew because of them. He was made into a murderer because of them. He had no choice in the matter but to obey and survive. He lost Lily because of them too, but now that the Antonon were defeated, he really didn't want to get revenge. The Gonza had them under control now. He didn't need to fight them. He didn't need to undo all of the past. And as much as he loved his family, he didn't want them back in some sad, horrible way, but it was true. What he wanted the most was to kill the time traveler and be with Lily. But then there was Jeremy too, but he knew Jeremy had no confidence, and Bennett himself was ruthless. He held the ball and thought really hard. He knew all he had to really do was kill Lily's love for the quiet one. He wouldn't have to do much else. He closed his eyes and went to Lily. He couldn't read her mind at all, and he couldn't see the future events before he changed anything either. She looked upset. Bennett? I keep hoping he's going to come back, whether I'm certain he's going to save the day at any moment or empty of hope that he even cares at all. He never shows. I'm very sad. He doesn't love you, Lily. He never did, and you know it. He's just like Fan. He's nothing you wish he was. Yeah, I kind of noticed that, and I kind of don't give a shit anymore. I want to be free again, do whatever I please, be who I am, and not care a damn bit about him anymore. Good, he shouted. I don't fucking care anymore. You shouldn't either. I'm sorry I didn't do things different in the past. I wasn't brave enough. I didn't even realize how much you meant to me back then. You did, though. You did. Now more than ever. Let him go. Let me love you. Let me make you whole again forever. I'll be your hero. But Bennett was beamed up and stunned by an Antonon who snatched the ball from his hands. He stood over Bennett, whose eyes shook with fright. It's not easy to scare Bennett, man. You can't scare Bennett unless you're an Antonon. He'd rather fight anyone but an Antonon. And they had him by the balls again, and this time he would not live. The Antonon vanished with the ball. An Antonon showed up all of a sudden and scared Lily, but he touched his neck and the mask disappeared, and there was AK, laughing hysterically. He knew not to change the past, bad news, so he just changed the future. Lily just looked at him. That was fucking classic, he laughed. All you really need is someone that supports you and won't hurt you. Damn straight, Lily sighed. She always liked that about AK, his truth. He didn't beat around the bush, he just told it as it was. He cared for her immensely and was possibly the most emotional one besides her, and she liked his expressiveness. He didn't beat around the bush, he just told it as it was. He cared for her immensely and was possibly the most emotional one besides her, and she liked his expressiveness. The Gonza beamed AK off of the ship while he still had the time ball. In the meantime, the IBT made all of the robots work for him, and no one could control him. The IBT slowly and carefully used the robots and constructed a man who looked like Sail, but bigger, stronger, tougher, and made of steel on the inside. All of the pieces came together, and finally the chip that contained the AI was placed inside of the robot's brain. It sealed, and hair grew rapidly over that spot. He looked at his new body and opened his hands and closed them. He could touch. He could smell. He could move. All he wanted was to touch and love his Lily, and no one controlled him anymore. He smiled the sweetest smile you'd ever seen in your life. Sire sat alone working on his machine silently. He sat focused, but robots were always focused. Robots were unshakable unless the robot had urges that replicated emotions. I think it's that his independent ideas, independent wants, and his independent desire, I think, is what replicates his emotions. The 743 was a cyborg. Its brain, memories, and emotions were intact, but whoever made the 743 was still the main controller. Correct. The 743 must still carry out programs. Yes, the 743 must still carry out programs. The 743 was controlled at least mostly by someone else. This robot was an AI. They're talking about Sire, okay? This robot was an AI built by a very smart and complex man, unlike most IBTs, okay? This robot may not understand the complex emotions that humans have, but it definitely had desires, and his desires were his emotions. Except this robot had no master, no programs, no orders, and was controlled by no one else except its own logic. He wanted to give Lily everything she never had, and they were really quite simple needs. He was a very complicated piece of circuits and machinery that no one could understand, but he understood these very basic things. Lily needed comfort, stability, love, passion, and dedication. Someone as steady as a lighthouse that could take the blows from a never-ending slamming of the sea. Something that never changed, like Lily's grandparents' house that she wrote about. Under constant changes, she longed for the safety and comfort of something that stayed the same. It was always stable and unchanging. She needed that strength and familiarity. Sire wanted to give her those things. He also wanted to be her desire and dreams. He wanted to be her inspiration. He wanted to free her spirit and her love. He wanted her to desire and dream for him back. He wanted her to lust for him alone, and it tugged at his mind continuously. There were only two other things that he really wanted, and he didn't just want them, he burned inside for those things. It really bothered him every millisecond of every day. He wanted to have sex with Lily very badly and give her a child. He knew he could, but it would never be his seed. He knew he was a robot without any of his own seed. He sorted out his choices of the men he had known, had met. He didn't meet them, he just researched them. Research. He didn't meet him in person, okay? He sorted his choices of the men he had researched. He didn't care who Lily liked or desired or not. He was an AI, and therefore he made his own choices. He chose Bennett. Lily probably wouldn't have liked that very much, but he didn't care. His choice was still his own choice, and no one could stop him. He found Bennett's samples and implanted them within himself. He likes Bennett for a lot of reasons. He didn't care who Lily liked or disliked, or not. He was an AI and therefore made his own choices. He chose Bennett. Lily probably wouldn't have liked that very much, but he didn't care. His choice was still his own choice, and no one could stop him. He found Bennett's samples and implanted them within himself. The third thing he wanted was his own son. So he built him from scratch, his own homemade gingerbread man. The brain microchip was the most important part, so he took care and babied it like it was his own embryo. He shaped it, designed it, put everything he could into it. He carefully cradled it like a newborn. He made the rest from plastics and dust. The lasers cut and the skin was shaved and shaped. Everything was put into place. He looked just like him and Lily had they mixed their DNA. He let out a breath and put the chip into place. Bake me a cake as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. Since John 391 took over the clone city, he had almost conquered the Happy City as well. John 391 almost became ruler of the Haffies because he's super smart. They liked him a lot, but not all of them, and many resisted. Some halfies insisted they should take things over, but they let John lead the clones. The halfies always had more than the clones ever did. The humans were torn apart. Many were shocked to find out how many clones and children they had. The halfies tried to sort this out, and one by one let them know the truth and inform them about the experiments. They're not really experiments, it's that they were cloned, and then they had children and children without their approval. They don't want to be around their clones, and they don't want to be around their children that they never knew. A few took some of their children in, but most wanted nothing to do with their children because they had different families and different lives. None of them wanted their clones anywhere near them, so the halfies built more cities in which they could make their own lives in a different place. Even though the halfies tried to explain many times to the humans the truth about World War III and how they overthrew the Antanon, many were still upset and blamed the halfies because they were used to the old order. Yeah, they can't accept it. They're like, well, everything was fine when the Antanon were here, and now the Antanon aren't here, and it's all your fault, right? Because Bennett was forced to assume his old identity and name so they would trust him and not rebel against the new system, right? There were so few humans left on Earth that the Gonza had to protect them, even if they babied them. After a couple years, they would replace him so that he no longer had to hide who he was. Sire stole a ship and headed to Gonza. They let him in. They didn't know it wasn't Zale because the machine truly believed he was him. He lay down with her. Sire held her through the night, but he couldn't sleep. His mind was a constant equation about everything he saw or heard. He listened to her sighs, and when she moved, he would readjust next to her and hold her in different ways. He would kiss her, and she would smile. He kissed her neck, and she giggled. "I love you, sire," she told him. She was truly happy and contented, and so was he. He would fantasize and get aroused, but he learned to control it so he could marry her and honor her proper like she deserved. He enjoyed the way her skin felt on his. He eyed her all night like she was a precious jewel. He loved it. He loved her more than anything in the universe. "Never leave me again." "I won't, I promise." "You gotta send that to him," AK begged Jeremy. AK's turn with the time ball was gone. "You gotta send that to him." AK's turn with the time ball was gone. So was Bennett's. "Do it," Bennett smiled. Jeremy smirked an evil smile, for he had tapped into everything, every channel, every frequency, every planet, every ship, and had Zale completely blocked and powerless. All of a sudden, the power to his ship came back on, and so did the screen of Lily's room. There he was, but he wasn't. Lying next to her, they were naked. "Who the fuck is that?" Zale asked. He knew they were listening. "Who's wearing the mask? I'm gonna kill whoever that is." All the boys laughed. No one answered. He tried to move his ship but couldn't. "Who is it?" "Now let that call go through," Bennett nudged. Zale's phone rang. "What is it?" "It's gone." "What's gone?" "The IBT is gone." "Someone stole it?" "Where is it?" "We don't know. It's untraceable. We can't find it." Zale tried to locate it but couldn't. "We're in the dark, but the doors are open." They shined flashlights around. Zale could see what they could through video, which wasn't much. "Turn the shit back on, Jeremy. Show him." Jeremy smiled. He flipped the power on and all of the computers came back to life. The controllers looked around. "Oh, shit," one said. "Shh," said the other, and pointed the camera at the ground. "What is it?" No one answered. "What is it? Who stole my computer? It didn't just walk the fuck out." "Actually, sir, it did." They lifted the phone where he could see the computers. There were 3D images of the body and of his perfectly replicated face. There were leftover parts and synthetic skin left on the floor. "Aw, fuck," he yelled. AK cracked up. "Let me talk to him, let me talk to him," AK begged. AK begged Jeremy. Jeremy smiled and let him through. "Hey, Sasquatch, he's got a dick." Zale's eyes grew wide. "Does it have a prick?" They didn't answer. They just showed him the screens that proved, yes, it sure did. They zoomed in on the other screens. Implant specimen drawer 6064. "Motherfucker!" Zale yelled. "Oh, I did that. That's my drawer. Don't worry. Lily's safe. It's in love with her. It won't hurt her." The boys laughed and Zale scowled. "But not until it marries her, and that's when it'll probably figure out who you are." "So what? I fucking built that thing." "Oh, it just loves Lily. It has emotions, you know. It thinks for itself, and boy, is it gonna get jealous when it finds out it's not you." "I don't fucking care." "But that would make you the threat. Its biggest threat to Lily's love for it." Shit, he hadn't thought about that at all. "And we'll probably help it for what you did to Lily." "She's a fool. I wanted to hurt her." "Then why are you so jealous about her? And what are you doing challenging me for my girl?" Jeremy retorted. "Getting his ass kicked," AK said. "Getting chased by its own machine," Bennett said. "No, getting killed by me," Jeremy smirked, held up Zale's time ball where he could see it, and then he cut all power off to Zale's ship and left him in the dark like he had left Lily. Lily mumbled. Sire couldn't understand. He touched her face. He loved touching her. He couldn't get enough of it, but tried not to keep her awake. "He's supposed to get the girl," she said, half asleep. She moved and held him tighter. "There you are," she smiled. "Here I am. Remember at the academy I kept calling you Cameron." "I don't remember that." "But you remember everything." "I don't. I just found a way to get to you so you could write to me and love me like you used to." "I wouldn't have gotten engaged to Fan if I knew you cared about me. You told him, didn't you? You said something nice about me." "I don't know Fan." "First you don't remember me calling you Cameron, and now you don't even remember Fan? What the hell's going on, Cole?" Lily stood up and pressed his neck where the button should be, but no mask fell. "My name is not Cole, it's Sire." "What's wrong, Cole Zale?" Cole Zale. This time his computer opened more information about him. Cole Zale graduated from Washington State University in Seattle, Washington, majored in robotic science and made many versions of artificial intelligence, IBT. Zale joined the Starset Associate Army Academy in 2012. "I am an IBT." "You're a robot?" "I am an IBT, but I built myself a body so I could be with you." Sire reran Lily's information, but most of it was blocked. "Well, you haven't harmed me, and you're gorgeous, of course." "I thought you were writing to me, but you weren't. You were writing to the man who made me, the same one who makes the laser guns." "He makes laser guns?" "That doesn't surprise me." "Do you call Zale Sire?" "Sometimes. He's just like Fan, though. He doesn't really care about me." "You're not like them at all, and you're a robot. I should have known." "Except he left you confused and alone. He never talked to you, and you got very sad." I would never hurt you like that. I have to tell the Gonza, but I'm afraid they'll destroy you, sire, take you apart and stuff. Don't call me sire. Call me Ira instead. Lily nodded her head in agreement and held Ira's face. You have to leave before they read my mind and shut you down. I don't think they can read you digitally. You have to leave, but if you want me to write to you, I will, and call me when you can. I have some friends out there and the Gonza won't let me see them. Can you try to protect my friends? Yes, I can try. Ira loved Lily and was upset inside, but he would rather leave than be destroyed, so he agreed. Everything else was still his own decision. He kissed Lily and left. He said nothing to the Gonza, which was normal. The Gonza knocked. Her door opened. Well, how did that go? Did you two, Oh. Lily, that thing is very dangerous, and it's an AI. This may end very badly. We have to destroy it before it starts killing people. I know. I told him to protect my friends. If only Cole cared for me the way his AI does. It's compassionate and loyal. The sweetest man I've ever met. A few days later, Lily was nervous, so she ran to the bridge, and they didn't stop her since they could read her mind. Where is he? They moved their holographic computer screens in front of her. We're the only ones that can find him. Why? He has people chasing him. He's right there, Lily. Relax. You're wrong. It's a false signal. Close, but no. It's a decoy. No, Lily, it's not. Yes, it is. She moved him over and took over the screens. Her eyes moved as fast as her hands on the touch screens. Wrong, he's right here, she pointed. Alarms went off all around them. The Gonza looked at her in shock. Everybody get down, she yelled, and they all crunched down because of her sotso voice. Sorry, I forgot. Lily sent an entire fleet out towards Zale to protect him, and they did not fight her because they couldn't, and she controlled the ships. She tapped into Jeremy's ship and diverted it. He tried to hack back into it and couldn't. Jeremy was confused because his ship took over and steered itself, and he couldn't do anything to stop it. His lips pressed tight and his face turned red, thinking Zale had finally bested him. The control board in Zale's ship lit up. It diverted and now was being pulled by a beam. He could see ships coming at him on radar. Lily was very interested in this other ship she found. It's the girl's ship. It was cloaked and only she could see it. Her eyes glanced over to the closest Gonza, knowing he could read her mind. He didn't ask. It's like the ball in the nut trick, except I can see through the nut. They didn't stop her. She sent a transmission to Zale's computer. It reprogrammed his ship. He opened the program and everything was in hieroglyphics. He understood so many things that sometimes he wished he didn't understand them at all, but this time he didn't. His ship was being taken hostage by the hacker, but when the ships approached him, they didn't attack. When he saw the Gonza ships, he knew he was being pulled to safety by the Gonza, and he was being taken to Lily. Lily had given him the tech of the cloak ship and reprogrammed Zale's, which double-cloaked it. Upgrade, Lily smiled. She fired some of the weapons and moved them. It was draining her, but she used all of her might. She formed a beacon with them and sent it along with Jeremy to the decoy ship. Jeremy, unable to steer or control his own shuttle, now saw the beacons which the ship was being pulled towards. He sighed and sat back down in his chair. He had already tried to eject but couldn't. It was jammed, and even though he was at a standstill, his ship was halted in front of Zale's, and he was furious because he couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't even fire at him, let alone hack Zale's nor his own ship. A small army gathered around the beacon. They stood still because the only one that could make a beacon or stop a laser was Lily, and it hovered above Zale's ship. The Gonza. One of the small armies fired anyway and easily took down the ship. It turned and began firing at the rest with very strong weapons. "Oh shit, Jeremy, where are you?" AK screamed. "I'm right here. I'm frozen. I can't fly. I can't see you." "I can see you. Watch out." AK was hit and his shuttle went spiraling into nowhere slowly. "AK!" Jeremy screamed, but he couldn't hack or even beam him in. A tear fell down his face and his eyes shook with horror. There was a large ship chasing AK's down, making sure he perished before he could escape. Another appeared and began blasting at his attacker with 7 other ships. The pilot escaped through a pod and was swiftly snatched up by another. They began to chase it as 2 other shuttles went to rescue AK. His shuttle blew up into tiny pieces, and there was a silence in the universe. The embers of the explosion faded into blackness, with the star slowly becoming the only light left glowing where the ship once was.